Hello and welcome to my travel vlog. Day 2, Adelaide to Paris. I spent last night in a hotel in Sydney, so I wasn't really here in Sydney. And after a shower this morning, came straight to the airport. The biggest thing about traveling at the moment is not being able to get definitive rules from anyone. I've contacted the Japanese embassy and JAL, and they all told me that if I wasn't leaving through customs in Haneda, I could stay overnight there, but I couldn't leave, and that's why I cancelled the overnight hotel in Haneda and bought a sleeping bag, which I've got with me. I decided I would not take the risk and not have a negative test certificate with me, but they only last for 72 hours anywhere you go, and I thought I most might need it in Paris because I wasn't technically going into Japan. I'm not technically going into Japan if I stay on the transatlantic side. I didn't want to get it from Adelaide before I left because the 72-hour window would be closing because it's 2 or 3 days for me to get from Adelaide, stop over Sydney, stop over in Haneda, and then fly to Paris. And so I decided I'd get one here in Sydney. It was very convenient, very efficient. I got there, hadn't previously booked because it said I didn't need to. I did it over the internet straight away and paid and got my test done. By a nice young woman who, behind her mask, appeared to be Japanese, and she was saying, "Oh, you're going to have a hard copy of this to go to Japan." And she was absolutely adamant. And she said, "You go." I said, "Well, I didn't even think I needed anything actually." "Oh no, you've got to have it. Don't even bother trying to check in, more or less. And we'll let you know by email as soon as the test is done, and you can come over here and we'll print a hard copy out for you." Because they're going to want to have a hard copy, not just on your phone, she said. And she was absolutely adamant about it. So I went over to the airport anyway, to the check-in, because I had nothing else to do. And I thought, well, I'd join the queue. The queue was very long and very slow, with many, many people. I'd say about 1 in 3 or 4 groups not having that paperwork up to scratch and being put to one side so that they could go and hunt for it or rectify it or something like that. And so I joined the queue, and I was quite worried because I saw all these people getting turned away. But I'm absolutely sure that I was told that I didn't need anything to do with COVID if I was only staying in the transit lounge for Japanese purposes. That turned out to be true. However, they were checking me for all the way to France. And the rules for landing in France have changed since I checked 2 days ago. And they changed so that now I have to have a negative test to land in Paris. And I was getting closer and closer to the check-in point. In fact, what happened was that they sent an official around to speak to people in the queue to checklist, make sure they had everything in the end, because the actual check-in points were getting too clogged up. And she told me, "You better hope that your COVID test comes over the internet before you get to the actual check-in point." Well, I was 2 people back from the check-in point when my phone rang. Email came through, negative test. So just in time. And I didn't have to have a hard copy for boarding. I just had to show them that. And I had to show them my flight returns and so forth. And because my phone was stolen 10 days ago, and it took me 10 years to learn the last phone, so learning a new one in 10 days is a bit of a push. Anyway, I got pressing the wrong buttons and I was stood to one side in the end because I couldn't bring up my return ticket easily, and I couldn't find my COVID test, even though I'd had it on the phone numerous times while I was waiting to make sure I didn't get into a mess. Anyway, took me fully 2 hours and so to get through the system, and the lesson that's learned is have hard copies of everything because they're just there one after the other. Whereas on a phone, trying to show them one after the other is very easy to press the wrong button when you're in a queue.